Peace, kings and queens. How are you today? And welcome back. First of all, make sure you hit that like button. Remember to share and comment down below, and also subscribe. So let's jump right into this video. I had actually recorded some footage yesterday of me doing Grubhub. Now, for those of you who have already been watching me, you know that I have been doing DoorDash. It is a favorite of mine and works out very well in my particular market. But I also signed up to pretty much all of the various gig economy platforms that are offered in my particular area. So I signed up for Postmates, Uber Eats, Hop, Skip, Drive. I'm actually still waiting on the background check to clear, and Instacart. I wanted to do Grubhub because in all of my research and videos that I have been watching, from my understanding, it's almost like as if Grubhub and DoorDash are very similar in their payout. Even though there's that controversy going on with DoorDash and how they're stealing the tips from their drivers, the payout is similar. So I wanted to test that theory out for myself. I did actually drive yesterday for Grubhub. I scheduled myself to work 2 hours from 6 p.m. to 8:30. And I must say that they did keep me busy. However, when I calculated my earnings towards the end of the night, it didn't end up being more than DoorDash. Now, I might be a little bit biased because I have been doing DoorDash for approximately a month now. So I've experienced DoorDash when it's extremely slow and when it's extremely busy. I have worked for DoorDash making money consistently when there are extra peak pay, and when there isn't. My experience with DoorDash is I never make less than $15 an hour. Never. Not even on a slow night. And on a slow night, I mean a Monday or Tuesday, working from 5:30 to 8:30 in the evening. I never make less than $15 an hour. Okay? Now, to be fair, I've only driven for Grubhub just once. And I can already tell you that just in driving for them yesterday for the 2.5 hours that I drove around, I don't like the fact that the trips they're not far. But what I can't see in the app, I can see the address. But if you're not familiar with the city that you're going to pick up the order, the address doesn't really mean anything to you because you don't know where it's at. With DoorDash, it'll tell you the name of the restaurant and it'll tell you how many miles you're going to drive for the whole trip. Meaning, it'll say McDonald's, for example. It'll say McDonald's, for example, and then it'll say at the top left-hand corner of the app, it'll say 5 miles. So that means for the whole trip, driving to pick up the food and dropping off the food is going to be a total of 5 miles. With Grubhub, it doesn't give me that information. Like I said, it just gives me the address and the name of the restaurant. So I ended up on the freeway about 2 or 3 times. Again, these were not far trips, but 6 miles to get to the restaurant, and then maybe 3 miles to get to the customer, or then I had to drive 6 miles in the other direction. With DoorDash, in my experience, with me, I don't know how it is for everybody else. And this is just me speaking from my experience. So I'm not an expert on this. This is just my opinion and my experience. In my experience with DoorDash, they'll send me, in the beginning of my shift, usually I get small orders. Small orders meaning they average between $6 to $8. And it could be a 3-mile trip. For example, with Jack in the Box, Jack in the Box is a restaurant that I don't think have a partnership with DoorDash at all. So when you get there, you have to actually order the food and you have to pay for it with a red card. So I believe that DoorDash compensates you because you're doing extra work in their eyes. So they're paying you extra. So I may only go to Jack in the Box and get only one meal and end up getting an $8 payout for that, and then the trip itself is only 3 miles in total. Whereas yesterday I went to Taco Bell 3 different times in 3 different cities, ranging in 6 to 10 miles per trip, and then the payout was only $6, and then it would be like a $1. I got $1.45 tip from one of them in addition to the $6, and there was another one where I got, I believe, $3 and some change tip in addition to the $7. So the orders weren't really amounting to much. So today I said that my strategy is going to actually try to cherry pick. I know that they try to advise against that, but being realistic, if I'm trying to make a goal and I really want to make this work, you know what I mean, and I really want to be able to provide the best amount of information that I can give you guys for my particular marketplace, I consider, in terms of the research again that I have done, I believe that I am located in Central Orange County. So that area, from my understanding, again, includes cities such as Whittier, La Habra, La Mirada, Pico Rivera, Downey, Norwalk. That's the area that I'm in. Hold on, you guys. I'm getting ready to get me a cup of coffee because I work best when I've got some caffeine in my system, and it looks like it's going to be a rainy afternoon. So y'all give me one brief second to order my drink. All right, so I actually just made myself available for Grubhub. And I have an order. So I'm going to take a look at that order and I'll be right back. All right, so I rejected my first order. All of my orders, which is back to my point of what I was saying, a lot of the orders that I was getting yesterday, I did 5 orders in total. 3 of them were from 3 different Taco Bells from 3 different cities. And all of these cities are like 4 or 5 miles away from each other. Now, in reality, that's not a long distance. But when you're trying to make money and time is of the essence, I don't want to be driving 5 miles to one place, 5 miles to another place, 5 miles to this place, 5 miles. That takes too much of my time, right? So for me, even though I made out with 5 orders yesterday in the 2.5 hours, I felt like those 2.5 hours with DoorDash, I would have made at least the $15 an hour. With my earnings yesterday, and they have a minimum. Let me just start by saying the one thing that I do like about Grubhub is that they have an hourly minimum, and it varies from marketplace. In my particular marketplace, the hourly minimum is $12 an hour. So what that means is, let's say I do get orders, an order for $5, another order for $5, and let's say it stays like that. If it doesn't come out to $12 an hour, then they're going to contribute to make sure that I get the minimum of $12 an hour. So for yesterday, with the worst being the worst, I should have at least made a minimum of $30. Oh, I have another order. Let me see what it is. Okay, so let me just say really quickly, I rejected that order too. It was from a different restaurant. Both of these orders were about the same. The first one was $5.88 in Downey, again, 5 miles away. The other one was in Downey too, 5 miles away, $5.44. I don't know what the tip amount is going to be, but honestly, I really don't care. At the end of the day, I want to get orders that are going to yield the best benefits for me. So like I said, when I'm doing DoorDash, I don't cherry pick with DoorDash at all. I really don't, but they keep me consistently busy. And especially since I'm familiar and I know the restaurants that they're working with, a lot of the times I already know what the location is. So even if the order is a minimum of $5.50, but I know that the order is literally just right up the street, I'll go ahead and do it because I know that I'm going to get that order off really, really quick. And there's a good chance that I'll probably even get an extra bit of money for getting that order there ahead of time. So you have to excuse my son. He likes to talk over me when I'm trying to do my thing. I have another order. We're going to check on that one and I'll be right back again. All right, so another Taco Bell, $6.42, but the city was even further away. This is what I'm talking about. It's traffic. It's 6 o'clock. So coming from where I'm coming from, I'm going to sit in. It's going to take me at least 20-30 minutes to get there. I don't want to do that. It's not worth my time. already for me, Grubhub in my area is just not working out. I know for others it works out. And all of this to say that it really just depends on your marketplace, because Grubhub may work out very well for other people where they live or where they decide to do it at. But for me, in these first 2 days that I've been doing it, like I said, I don't really like to cherry pick because I don't want my acceptance rates to be affected. And especially with DoorDash, you don't really have that flexibility to cherry pick because your acceptance rate gets affected. So I may only do it every once in a while. My acceptance rate right now with DoorDash is about 95-96%. So if I decline one order, it's not going to drop me by much. You know what I mean? It's probably going to bring me down to 94%, or it may not even affect me at all, because right after that I'll be accepting all of the other orders. So it's just going to end up bringing me right back up to where I was. But with Grubhub, it's like they go by your block acceptance, your block rate, drop rate, your acceptance rate, and there's one more. I always forget the other one. But anyways, your attendance rate. So I'm trying to be here and be accountable for my block, but I'm just not going to drive 5 miles away for no $6 or $7. That's just not going to work for me. So I have another order, you guys. I'm going to end it right there, at least for right now. If I do take some orders, I will definitely update you guys before I head on in. It's about 6 p.m. So, I mean, I've got 2.5 hours. I'll let you guys know how it goes. All right, so I went on ahead and accepted that order. I believe it was about $7.50, but it was still far. I just went on ahead and accepted it because, like I said, I'm very cautious with my acceptance rates, even though I know that a lot of people do cherry picking with Grubhub. I'm not going to cherry pick too much, but those first 3 I just felt was ridiculous. But in the end, after I accepted it, it was still 5 miles away. But that's not even the kicker. This is the kicker to the situation. I got the order at 5:58. When I clicked to accept the order, it says order needs to be picked up by 6:03, but it's a 20-minute drive. How am I going to make it 5 miles away from where I am in 4 minutes or 5 minutes? The same thing happened to me yesterday when I was dropping off an order, and as I was dropping it off, as I was headed to the customer's location, I received a request for another order. Okay, I went on ahead and I accepted it. When I accepted that order actually needed to be picked up before the order that I was dropping off needed to be dropped off. So let me just try to break that down for you. So basically, I can't remember the exact time. I believe it was almost close to 7. The order that I had just accepted needed to be picked up by 6:47. The order that I was dropping off needed to be dropped off by 6:52. I was already en route. Of course, for me, it was like, okay, I'm not going to stress myself about that because I'm already en route to drop off food. So it doesn't make sense, and I hope that that's not what they were expecting me to do, was to say, okay, forget it and backtrack, because the distance between those 2 locations was like a 5-6 mile. So that customer whose food I was headed to drop off, they probably wouldn't have received their food for like an hour, and I wasn't about to do that. I wasn't about to compromise the quality of their food just to make this time scale. So it's like, I don't know if there's something going on with the app or with the system or whatever, but that right there, I noticed that yesterday too. It was like they cut it real close in terms of when you're supposed to be there. I don't know if these are orders that are being rejected by others and then they're just passing them along to whomever. I have no idea. I kind of want to talk to my driver specialist, and I think I probably will reach out to him tomorrow, because another difference that I've noticed with DoorDash and with Grubhub. With DoorDash, if I get an order, it'll tell me when the order needs to be delivered by. 9 times out of 10, they give me 20 minutes to get to that person and 20 minutes, an additional 20-30 minutes to get to the customer, depending on the location. Now, if the customer is located 4 or 5 miles away from me, they do factor in traffic and everything else. So I may have to pick an order up. Let's say, for an example, I may have to pick an order up at about 8 o'clock. It has to be picked up by 8:10. And because of the distance between the restaurant and the customer, they give me until 8:40. But in reality, it may not actually take me that long. I may get there by 8:20 or 8:25, give or take. So And that's happened several times where they give me more than enough time, 45 minutes to get to the customer. But when I put on my GPS is saying that I'm going to be there in like 10 to 15 minutes, sometimes even less. With Grubhub, a lot of the orders that I end up accepting, it's like I have to be there in 5 minutes, but they're not 5 minutes away from me. They're like 15, 20 minutes away from me. So just another difference that I've kind of acknowledged in this scenario. I'm headed to pick up this first order. Like I said, it's about $7. It doesn't show me the tip amount until after I have picked up the order. And once I'm en route to drop that off, it won't tell me until then. So we're gonna see. But I don't know. I feel like I'm wasting my time with Grubhub. I don't want to totally count Grubhub out, but at the same time, again, everything is market dependent. And another thing, this is another thing, I'm not actually working in the marketplace that I feel like I should. Now, when I signed up, they gave me options, and the options were Northern Orange County, Central Orange County, and Southern Orange County. Now, I have no idea what cities are in which part, and I tried to do my best to look it up online to see which cities were in which part of Orange County, and it wouldn't break it down for me. So I don't know. And then the website itself for Grubhub, it didn't say what they thought was Southern Orange County or Central Orange County or Northern Orange County. It just said those three regions of Orange County. So I picked the one that I thought I was in, and I think I picked Southern, but Southern ended up taking me literally, when I had to go for orientation was literally 30 miles away from my house. And when I got there and spoke to the driver specialist, I let him know. I said, hey, if this is the region I'm supposed to work in, this isn't going to work. I can't be 30 miles away from where I live. You know, I have children, of course, and I need to be near my home. And when I'm done driving, I want to be able to get to my house. So this ain't going to work. He said that, you know, it's a fairly easy process. All I had to do was submit an email to him, and that he does region changes all the time, that he would get to me as soon as he could, and he would change my region. I said, okay. So in the email that I sent him, I told him the cities that were surrounding where I live, and because there was another young lady that was there at orientation who had chosen the wrong marketplace as well, and she was actually in the region that I needed to be in. And so I gave him, you know, those cities that was in that region, and he ended up putting me further to the other side. So when I reached out to him and said, hey, well, you know, this is still, I still have to drive, even though it's not far, but I still have to drive 3 miles, because they won't start sending you orders until you're within the outline of your region boundaries. So I still have to drive. Now, see, another difference with DoorDash, because I'm working in my area, you get to choose what cities you want to work in. I picked to work in the city where I live in. So a lot of the times I'll just turn on my DoorDash app when I'm still at home, and then wait for me to get an order, and then I'll leave. With this, I have to drive to my region marketplace and then wait for an order. So again, it's not far. It's only 3 miles away from where I live, but still, I don't want to be sitting in my car and then sitting there having to cherry pick, because now you're sending me a lot of orders that are only $5, but you want me to drive freaking 10 miles away. All of that to me, in my opinion right now, is kind of working against Grubhub in my marketplace. So I can see why DoorDash is beating out Grubhub. Now, I don't know where I don't know where it was when all of this started. I'm just now getting into the gig economy platforms myself. So again, I'm not in no way an expert or anything. I don't have a PhD in gig economy apps or none of that. This is just my own experience, and I can give you my experience on each and every one of the apps that I have worked on.
In a quarter mile, turn right onto Firestone Boulevard.
But I'll do that in another video. I said I was just gonna do a slight comparison of Grubhub and DoorDash, and also just kind of let you guys know what the realistic earnings are in my marketplace. So yeah, back to my point, I'm not actually working in the marketplace that I feel I should be working in. When I reached out to my driver specialist to see why he had put me so far to the opposite side, it was like, well, that's the only marketplace that was open, and so I would have to
Take the next right onto Firestone Boulevard.
I would have to wait, essentially. I would have to be put on a wait list for my marketplace, and then I would have to wait until...
Continue on Firestone Boulevard for 3 miles.
I would have to wait until that region opened up. So, honestly, before I started working for Grubhub, because I had scheduled myself, I think, a week ago, and then I completely dropped all of those blocks. It was about 3 or 4 blocks, and I felt so bad. I was like, oh my God, this is going to work against me. But I dropped all of those blocks because I was like, you know what? I would rather wait to work in my marketplace. And also because there was another gentleman, which you guys should check him out. I'm gonna see if I can remember his name. I think it's JRV to Succeed, but he does very descriptive videos on Grubhub, Postmates, Uber Eats, and DoorDash. And in his video for Grubhub, he went through the same thing. Basically, he had started, but it wasn't really yielding him the financial benefits that he wanted, and so he ended up stopping and just keeping on. You know, he has a regular job, but he ended up just doing his regular job and then DoorDash, and then he asked his driver specialist to transfer him to, I believe, the area of that was around where he lived. So in the video you can actually see that he toggles himself on to be available to start taking orders, but he's actually at home. So he will accept the orders that they send him. He says it's not really busy in his area, but he'll accept the orders that he sends him, that they send him. It may only be 3 or 4 hours, and mind you, he'll schedule himself a 12-hour shift, but may only end up getting 3 or 4 deliveries. But he's getting his hourly guarantee, and I can't remember what his hourly guarantee is. So that's why he ends up delivers, because for him it's like, well, if I'm working 12 hours and he's getting an hourly guarantee, let's just say of about $12 an hour, then he's already going to make about $180 something right there from just his hourly guarantee. So even if he did decide to go and deliver 3 or 4 orders, those 3 or 4 orders doesn't amount to him getting his hourly guarantee. So they have to still pay him for being available because he scheduled himself to work that block. So I said, for me, if it's going to be like this, I would rather do the same thing. So that's why I'm waiting, or try to get myself on this wait list, and I said that I would just wait. So I don't think that I'm probably gonna drive next week. I'll see if maybe it'll yield me better results if I do it in the morning time, like maybe if I go to drive 11 to 2 and then keep my DoorDash at night. So I might do that next week, but right now, the head-to-head competition in my eyes between DoorDash and Grubhub, it ain't really working for me. It ain't really working for me at all. Like I said, I'm still driving to get to this place. I'm still driving. I would have been picked up my meal already. DoorDash sends you to a spot that's no more than 3 miles away from you, and even if they do send me to a spot that's a little bit further away, traffic is, it's like, I feel like they perfectly calculated. That's just my experience. Again, they perfectly calculate. Like, whenever I start between 5 and 6, my first few orders are small. It's like $6 or $7 orders, but the driving time altogether is the driving distance, 5-6 miles altogether, maybe even less than that. So I'm getting them in and out. There's days where I get 3 orders in just 1 hour. 3 orders in just 1 hour, where my average is 2 orders an hour. But 3 orders in just 1 hour. Okay, I'm still driving. Like, it's beyond me. I'm still, like, I'm so frustrated. I don't like, for me, I don't like it. I'm really, like I said, I'm really trying not to be biased, and you guys probably gonna think I'm crazy and this video is super long, but realistically, this is too much for me. Already at 6:20, I would have been and dropped off my first order and would have been on to my second order, and even if it would have died out in my last 30 minutes or my last hour, I probably would have already made close to $40 already, if not a little bit over $40, because like I said, sometimes when I'm driving and I'll be getting in and getting out, I don't play about my money. So when I be driving and dipping and dodging and doing what I got to do out here, sometimes I get a bonus. Like, the order may be $7, I'm getting ready to get paid, and then after I drop it off, it'll be an extra $5 or $10 that they'll give me, and I think that they're giving it to me for being like way ahead of schedule. With this, oh my God, this is gonna drive me absolutely bonkers. But anyways, I'm gonna end this video there. I'm gonna check in with you guys at the end of the night just to let you know how it went. I don't think I'm gonna be vlogging too much more on Grubhub for this week. I think I'm just gonna leave it at this, but I do want to give you guys a fair assessment to the best of my ability. So I'll let you guys know how I turn out at the end of the night. Hey you guys, what's good? So it is about 7:35 and I am on order number 5. Last time I checked my earnings for tonight, I was at about $23. Again, I'm extremely disappointed, and on top of the fact, when I tell you guys I have been doing so much driving, it's like every delivery, every order takes you further and further to the complete other end of your region boundaries. It's like,
in a quarter mile, turn left onto Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard.
I don't know how to explain it, but it's just like, you know how every county has like all these different sub-cities or whatever that are all included in that county or whatever, and I am probably 10 miles or more away from where I started from, which is exactly what I don't want to happen, because especially with me being a single mom and I may have my children with me while I'm doing delivery.
Take the next left onto Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard.
I have to now jump on the freeway and head back near my starting point. It's like literally, when I say they make you go all around they make you move around the whole freaking map.
In half a mile, turn left onto East Imperial Highway.
It's ridiculous. And this last order, it's only about $6-7. I shouldn't have taken it because it was a Taco Bell order, and Taco Bell orders to me are just the worst. I just don't like them. They're not doing the promotion anymore anyway, so it's just kind of not worth it. But it's a Taco Bell order. It's the biggest order out of all of them. It's the biggest. I have about 5 meals. I have 5 meals and 5 drinks, and I'm only getting paid $6 for that order, and there's no tip. So as you can imagine, I'm a little bit irritated about that. So I'm gonna get this order off, and then I'm gonna head back towards my home. I'm probably going to stop working for Grubhub for tonight because I'm a little bit irritated, but I'm gonna finish this order and I'll let you guys know. Hey you guys, I'm back. So this is gonna be my final update. I am officially done with my shift. It is about 8:45. I just dropped off my last order, and a little bit of a story time. Not really a story time, but it just confirms pretty much what I was saying earlier about driving far distances. So I am on the freeway headed back to my house. I am 14 miles away from where I started, which is pretty much where I thought I was going to end up, from one end of my region boundaries all the way to the other side of the map. 14 miles is entirely too far to be traveling every night. When I'm driving with DoorDash, at the end of the night, I am literally no more than 5 miles, sometimes less than from my last delivery to where I live. And that's how I like it, because after driving, you're tired. You want to get home. You don't want to spend another 30-something minutes driving just to get home. So it's saying it's only going to take me 22 minutes to get home, but like I said, I'm tired. I've been driving already. I don't want to spend another 20-something, 30 minutes driving just to get home. And on top of that, that's taking more gas from my vehicle. So that's that. Now, my last delivery. Now, this is the interesting thing. When you're actually delivering the food, I noticed with Grubhub, the orders are generally between 3 and 5 miles away from each other. But in terms of the restaurant, and here's another thing. I noticed that with a lot of the deliveries that I made, a lot of the deliveries that I got, I don't know if this is because they have they don't have enough drivers in my area or what the situation is, but what I am going to say is I noticed that a lot of the orders that I received, it would be like five minutes. The pickup time would be 5 minutes away from the current time. So for example, this is just an example. Let's just say I got an order at 8:05, then I would need to be there at 8:10. But I am 20-30 minutes away, and I believe I explained that earlier in the video, but that was kind of repetitious throughout the night. So here's a little bit of information. My last order, the only reason why I accepted it was because it was about $8, a little bit over $8, and I said I'm going to go ahead and accept this order because it's going to push me to the usual amount that I will make with DoorDash. So I went on ahead and accepted it. It only ended up being 3 miles away from where I was, and then the delivery was 2 miles away from where the restaurant was. But like I said, all in all, and I'm 14 miles away from where I live, so now I have to head back 15 miles in the other direction. That's not something that I want to do every night. So that's kind of bothersome. Now, when I got to the restaurant, well, before I got to the restaurant, I got a notification saying that the order status had been updated to ready to pick up. So I said, okay, cool. Well, at least when I get there, the order will be ready for me to pick up. All I got to do is go in there and get it and then leave. That wasn't the case. When I actually got in there, they were still cooking the order. So she said, oh, it's just going to be a couple more minutes. I said, okay. And then she went back to the back again, checked again, grabbed some utensils and some salsa and stuff like that. And then she came back up to the front. And she said, okay, it's almost ready. So then I asked her, I said, you guys marked how long do you think it's going to take? And I didn't say it in a mean way, but I did ask her because, you know, for me, like I said, even though it's the end of the night and I knew that was going to be my last order, but still, for me, it was just like, why did they mark the order as ready when it's not ready? So I asked her, I said, how long do you think it's going to be for the order to be ready? Because it was marked ready. She said, we always mark the orders ready. And I said, well, why? And she said, well, because a lot of the times, for one, we can't see what time the driver is going to be here until after we mark the order as ready. And so she says, from what I've noticed, whenever we get orders with Uber Eats or DoorDash, they're usually here right away. But she says a lot of the time with Grubhub, a lot of these drivers come from a real far distance. And she says she called about it and let them know, and they told her that it was because they didn't have a lot of drivers in this area or whatever. So a lot of the orders do end up being further, the drivers do end up being further away. So she says at the moment when they hit that the order is ready, they can see, okay, well, the driver's not going to be here for 15 minutes or the driver's not going to be here for 40 minutes. And the reason why they do that is because when they weren't doing that prior, they were getting a lot of complaints from their customers saying that their food was arriving cold. So I simply explained to her, because I didn't want her to have a bad taste in her mouth, because the position that she was coming from was kind of blaming it on the driver, like as if it was the driver that's lagging. And she came from a customer's perspective too. She said, well, I know as a customer, I understand if you're like 5 minutes late, but you know, if you're getting here and my food is completely cold, you know, I don't expect it to be perfect. But if it's like super cold, which I do understand that because I'm a customer too. However, since I've been driving, I do understand, and that's why now, even as a customer, when I notice that my drivers are going in the other direction, or if it seems like it's going to be taking them longer, I will reach out to them and say, hey, you know, I noticed that you're going in the other direction, or it said you were going to be here in 5 minutes, now it's saying you're going to be here in 20. What's going on? Because a lot of the times the drivers are intimidated and they don't want to reach out and communicate with you. I do it all the time. Doesn't matter if the customer is going to be upset. I would rather them be upset, but at least I reached out. If I get to the restaurant and your food is not ready when I get there and they telling me it's going to take additional 15 to 20 minutes to prepare your order, I'm definitely reaching out to the customer first to say, hey, you know what, your order was not ready upon arrival. I will let you know as soon as your order is received. That gives them enough chance to say, hey, they want to cancel it, or if they're 100% fine with it. So that way, by the time I get there, at least they're not as upset because they already know. And I just continue to update them. If it's going to take longer past the time that I told them, hey, I'm still here at the restaurant, blah, 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 blah. But back to the employee at the restaurant. Now, I'm assuming that, you know, it was a small restaurant. It wasn't like a chain like a McDonald's or Arby's or anything like that. It was like a small restaurant that's probably the only one in existence. So I'm assuming that she was, it's a family-owned business, and she was most likely one of the owners or a part of the family. So, you know, she said herself, I marked the orders as ready because I've gotten a lot of complaints from customers saying that their food is cold. So again, I went to explain to her my example. I said, well, a lot of the times it's not the driver's fault. I can't speak for all drivers, but I've been driving for 2 days and I've already noticed the difference. When I get an order, it's usually 5 minutes before I have to be there to pick up that order. But when I hit Google Maps to navigate me to the location, it's saying it's going to take me about 20 minutes to get there. That's not something that I feel is my fault. I don't know if that order was in the hands of, yes, baby. Yes, baby. What's your matter? What's your matter, huh? You ready to go home? Go night-night? We go night-night? My baby's trying to tell me he's tired of me talking, y'all. Anyway, so, I don't know if the order, you know what I mean? Like, it could have been an order that another driver had, but then they rejected it or canceled or asked for it to be reassigned. Who knows? It could just be something going on with the app, which I did tell her is a possibility. Nasir, I did tell her is a possibility. You see how he talks every time I start trying to say something? Sometimes I swear, man, these kids be knowing. They be knowing. Poo-poo. Let me see if I can distract him with a cookie, because I felt like this information was just, like I said, I kind of already knew. I mean, you could just kind of tell, but with me being new to the platform and this only being my second day driving for Grubhub, it was just kind of like, here, give this to your brother. It was just kind of like, okay, I could be a little biased because I've been driving so much for DoorDash. I'm not really giving Grubhub a chance. So, but to hear someone who has been dealing with Grubhub, I'm pretty sure longer than 2 days, longer than I have, to say, hey, this is what usually happens. She said herself that a lot of the drivers are coming from far distances because they don't have drivers in the area. There's no way that Grubhub can boost up to get more drivers in the area, because it's just a matter of if people want to do it or not. So I do understand in that aspect their hands are tied, but at the same time, it's like, don't sacrifice the quality of the food because you want to stay in business. That's just going to continue, in my opinion, to make it harder for you, one, to get people who want to drive for your company, and two, to continue to have these contracts with these restaurants, because you're messing with the integrity of their product. I mean, that's just the reality of the situation. You know, if their food, I'm pretty sure every restaurant is aware that, you know, you're driving in the car, even with these insulated bags, it's not going to be at the same temperature as it was from the moment it got off the stove or out of the oven or whatever the case may be. But I mean, if you're sending out a driver that is literally 45 minutes to an hour away from the restaurant to go and pick it up, and they prepare the order right when the order is received on their end, then yeah, I could see the integrity of that meal being compromised, because it's been sitting out and not under a light, which to me is disgusting anyway. So I guess I'm challenging you guys. For those of you who are driving for Grubhub already, let me know what you think in the comment sections below. Has this happened to you? Have you experienced this yourself? Have you been driving for Grubhub? Have you noticed that you get orders that are really far away from you, or you'll receive the order and it'll have to be picked up literally in 5 minutes, but you're not 5 minutes away from the restaurant? You know, let me know in the comment sections below. I'm just kind of curious to see what other people are experiencing. Maybe, like I said, it's just very market dependent in that aspect, and it just has to do with my particular area. But I'm saying that because I've also seen, you know what I mean, that for DoorDash, people have been complaining that DoorDash has been sending them like really, really far out for $8. And like I said, I have gotten requests for orders with DoorDash that were like $9-10, and the whole trip may have been 13 miles, maybe 5 miles to the restaurant, and then the rest of the miles, 8 miles to the customer, whatever. I take those every now and again because it's usually my very last order and there's no traffic. It's like 8 o'clock at night, so I'm gonna get there in like 10 minutes. I don't care about that. But if I'm doing that like consistently throughout the night, even with DoorDash, that would be a problem for me too. So usually when I get orders like that from DoorDash, it doesn't happen too often, but if they do do, you know, start sending me orders like in the beginning of my shift, and I notice that they're a little bit further out, I will most likely decline them and wait for something that's a little bit closer, and make sure, because it gives you the option in the DoorDash app when you're declining it, just like with Grubhub, it gives you the option to say why you're declining the order, and I will say order is too far, even if it's just 6 miles, because I want to stay in this region so that I can get more orders in this region. And then usually after that, they'll start sending me smaller orders that I can just knock out like really, really quick. But anyways, I'm gonna wrap up this video, you guys. I am gonna be driving for Grubhub tomorrow and Thursday. I think I'm gonna pick up a morning shift tomorrow just to see how it is in the daytime, and see how I like it. I'm still not counting Grubhub out, so please, for those of you who love Grubhub, you're going hard for Grubhub. I'm not saying that Grubhub ain't the business. That's not what I'm saying. 100% is not what I'm saying. I am just giving my experience and just saying, in comparison to DoorDash and things that I don't like, but there are some positive aspects of Grubhub. So, I mean, who knows? In the long run, Grubhub might end up working out for me. I don't know, because the thing that is the biggest difference outside of the hourly guarantee is that with DoorDash, even if you schedule yourself to work a certain amount of hours, there's still no guarantee that you're going to get any orders. I've had shifts where I schedule myself to work maybe 2-3 hours, and I'll sit around for about 30 minutes and then I'll just go home. I may have already gotten a good 4 orders, and I'm okay with that because the payout was good. Like, if the payout was good and I'm already at $30 or over $30 for just 2 hours, and I'll go home and be like, okay, because I don't have the patience to just sit around and wait. But it does happen. So on that note, I'm gonna leave you guys on, you know what I'm saying, do what's good for you. Keep working these platforms for as long as they're in existence, because at the end of the day, there ain't too many jobs out there that's going to allow you to work around your circumstance and your individual goals and aspirations the way that I feel that these gig economy apps do. You can go and work for Taco Bell, you can go and work at a grocery store. I've done just about everything that you could possibly do that's legal to do. And I can tell you that it's just always a problem trying to work around being a mom, either in a relationship or being a single parent. It's very difficult. So I'm gonna end and say good night to you guys. I hope that you guys really enjoyed this video and coming along with me, and I hope that this information is used or works to your benefit in some way, shape, or form. Stay cool, y'all. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. I cannot stress that enough, you guys. Make sure you subscribe to my channel. I'm going to be doing a $50 gift card once I reach 50 subscribers. So, please remember to like, share, subscribe, and as always, put any comments down below, any questions, any concerns, anything that was unclear about what I said, or just share your experience with Grubhub, DoorDash, or anything. I will definitely respond to all the comments that I get. I love y'all, and I'll see y'all in the next video. And I'm out.